We are on the road to the 2021 STIHL Timbersports Women's Championship. 3 athletes have advanced, only 9 spots remain now.
You've got to have passion, but you've got to be able to blend it with technique and with skill.
And today, 7 more competitors battle it out for 3 more spots.
It's like an animal just let me out of this cage, you know, it's go time.
It's been way too long. I cannot express how excited I am.
That you're gonna have to move and you need to put up your best time you possibly can today.
Getting on that stage is always like a party.
You hear go and that first hit sinks into the wood and you're just like, oh, hell yes.
We can do this sport just as well as the men.
STIHL Timbersports Women's Pool B begins now. Welcome to our continuing coverage. Great chopping and sawing. 2021 STIHL Timbersports U.S. Road to the Championships. This is the women's qualifier. Tommy Sanders here with Kevin Holtz. And, of course, we've got Pool A out of the way now. We got 3 qualifiers to the championship from there. Second of our 4 pools, Pool B today, Kevin. Again, a great group of athletes.
A great group of athletes and a new discipline. We've had men's standing block for years in the STIHL Timbersports. We are now adding it to the women's division. So this is something new for them to work on. It's been happening outside the timber sports world for quite some time. We're bringing it to the big stage now, though. Watch Erin Lavoie, past champion, great standing block cutter. Watch for her to post a great time in the standing block and grab some overall points working towards that championship. It won't be an easy go, though. Colin Shepard is in this pool. Kelly Kerrigan is in this pool. Darcy Rose. There are some really tough choppers in Pool B.
Oh, it will be a handful today. 7 competitors shooting for 3 spots, so let's go.
In the stock saw, 2 athletes compete at once using identically tuned running MS661 chainsaws. At the start signal, the down cut is made first, then a quick transition to the up cut. Both discs must be cut within a 4-inch section of the wood.
All right, here we go. We'll start with the stock saw, and our time to beat is a 13.84, laid down by Darcy Rose. Here we go with heat number 1, women's Pool B stock saw. Time to beat Darcy Rose, 13.84. This is Kelly Kerrigan going up against Chrissy Ramsey.
We've seen Kelly struggle a bit with the stock saw in the past, just in consistency and even pressure. She is not struggling right now. Looks like a great cut from Kelly Kerrigan. There it is, a 12.42 with Chrissy Ramsey not too far off her heels.
Yeah, 12.91 for Chrissy Ramsey. Good race.
And the stock saw discipline, smooth is fast, and fast will get you major points. Both of these ladies with really clean looking cuts. Kelly Kerrigan is going to come out with a win in this one.
Heat number 2 getting ready to go here. Time to beat Kelly Kerrigan, 12.42. This is Erin Ramsey, all the way from Corvallis, Oregon, going up against Laura Helmick. Laura Helmick, Iowa State University Forestry Program.
Ramsey looking very close on that go signal, but we'll see. Oh, in trouble though on the transition from Ramsey over on stand number 1. Double trouble though. She buried the nose of the saw back into that cut. Almost didn't get that second disc to drop.
Time of 12.06 for Laura Helmick. Erin Ramsey, 13.37. Well, here we go. The 2018 national champion, Erin Lavoie, cutting from her home state of Washington, going up against Colin Shepard, the New Yorker, cutting from New York State.
I love what I'm hearing through that first cut. I love what I hear on this second cut. Clean, consistent performance, consistent RPMs, running right at the sweet spot of that torque curve. Celebratory arm waves from Erin Lavoie over on stand number 2. I think she's celebrating the fact that she's got 2 clean cuts on the ground, getting the job done in our qualifying rounds. Erin Lavoie shaking off those stock saw gremlins, putting together a great run, as does Colin Shepard. Your ear will tell you a lot. Both of these ladies were running these saws exceptionally well. Very smooth cuts.
Erin Lavoie taking top points in the stock saw with an 11.10 official time, 11.59 for Colin Shepard.
Every clean cut in that event is happy. I'm really happy with it. So I actually trained that one. Well, I train it a lot every year, but this year I kind of had a focus on what specific part to train, and it pulled through for me, so that's what I was kind of real happy about.
One discipline down in our women's Pool B competition, Erin Lavoie takes the stock saw and top points. Only the top 3 in points will move on to the STIHL Timbersports finals. So now we move on to the newest event for these women athletes, the standing block.
I'm excited about the standing block, which is so much fun. So I'm really looking forward to it, especially if I screw up the stock saw like I normally do 50% of the time. I have another event to fall back on.
STIHL Timbersports is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at stihlusa.com. By the Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear of STIHL Timbersports. By Ace Hardware. Ace is the helpful place. And by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Centralia, Washington, one of the 4 locations hosting competitors for our first ever virtual competition. We have athletes from around the country competing for one of the 12 spots in the 2021 STIHL Timbersports Women's U.S. Championship. Right now, only 9 spots remain. We've already completed 1 discipline in Pool B, and Erin Lavoie sits at the top of our leaderboard. Only the top 3 in points will advance to the finals. Now we begin the newest event in our women's competition, the standing block. To find out more about the standing block, here is our discipline review.
The standing block mimics the process of felling a standing tree. The competitor chops out the front half of the log first, then repositions to the backside as quickly as possible to chop the remaining wood until the log is severed.
So here we go with the first ever women's standing block chop heats. Our time to beat so far, 1:24:60, laid down by Laura Helmick. Let's get started with the standing block. Discipline number 2, time to beat Laura Helmick, 1:24.6. This is going to be Kelly Kerrigan going up against Christine Ramsey.
Well, this is the first year for the standing block in our women's division 2021, that is. These ladies have competed in the standing block in other competitions around the country. One big advantage, if there's an advantage here, one big advantage is we now have 4 disciplines in the women's division. So instead of a bad event counting as 1 out of 3, well, it's now down to 1 out of 4. Kelly Kerrigan wading deep into the front side of this block. A couple of up drivers ought to do it, and I think she's got the job done. A missed hit there. Wisely goes back, puts in the work until she gets that hit how she wants it. Wide open face for Kelly Kerrigan there as she works into the backside of this block.
Chrissy Ramsey making her transition now.
Chrissy also a wide open front face. That's what we like to see. Good slope. Whoa, getting a little wild on the backside of that block. That's where the fatigue starts to play in. Competitors will start to steer the axe in. They're coming in flat, squeezing down on that handle. Kelly Kerrigan driving off the top of that block just past the 1-minute mark. Christy Ramsey still at work in the backside of this block, drawing some nice chips out of that block. Coming in a little bit low. Oh, just past whistle. There is a time limit on this discipline.
That will be a DQ or a DNF. Official time for Kelly Kerrigan, 1:09.1.
So I tried to stick to my pattern as best as I could. My strategy going into it was to try and maybe overcut the front a little bit, just to make sure that I was safe on the backside, which I did overcut the front. So I probably could have gotten away with a few less hits, saved some more time and some more energy. But overall I'm happy with it. It's definitely not my strongest event, so I'm happy I just got one off in a reasonable amount of time.
Second heat of the standing block. That is Erin Ramsey, second-generation competitor from Corvallis, Oregon, going up against Colin Shepard, competing as a collegiate and a pro since 2007.
Colin a fair bit behind the go signal. I don't know if her axe left the block until go. She is off and cutting now. One missed hit at the top, but she has gathered it back up and is running a clean pattern. The chips are falling for both of these competitors as they both make their turn at the same time. Good clean cutting from both competitors. Want to see a plan of action, want to see pairs of hits, want to see big chips falling out of these blocks. Big chips result from a pair of hits. I also heard a couple of tinks in there. I think it was from stand number 1 as the axe is coming out of the block. may have grazed one of the dogs holding the block in place. Both these ladies are about 2 or 3 hits away. I see movement on both blocks. There's Colin Shepard just under the minute mark. Ramsey just over the minute mark. Great cut from both these ladies. Colin Shepard finding life a lot busier lately. She became a mom not too long ago. And apparently it's not slowing her training down, or at least not enough to show an impact. Good cut from Colin Shepard.
Minute, 5 seconds, .87 for Erin Cramsey and 59.47 for Colin Shepard.
It's a big deal having this event in the series, and you want to step up and do your best, and I feel like I did today. I'm really happy with that performance.
Our final virtual matchup in the standing block. Champion from 2018, Erin Lavoie, cutting from Centralia, Washington in her home state. New England's Darcy Rose, cutting from Cherry Valley, New York.
Erin Lavoie, a great, natural, relaxed swing, putting the hits where they need to go, planning her work, working her plan. Very clean cut on the front side of that block. Darcy Rose, almost ditto on her standing block attempt. Oh, I don't like that sound. That was metal on metal. I think one of them may have dragged the axe back out of the block. Maybe some light contact with the stand. Wow, close finish. Darcy Rose, 1 hit behind Erin Lavoie.
Good race there. Official time for Erin Lavoie, a 36.91. Darcy Rose, 38.59. So top points to our former champion.
I've been working on my confidence a lot in that because I think that that's what's going to hold anybody back. I know I've got a decent amount of power and I can follow my lines pretty well. I'm swing like a technician, but if you don't have confidence, you don't have anything, in my opinion. So I've been working that down hit, just having confidence and standing up there and do it. And I felt that when they said go, that first down hit, I could feel confident and lay into it, and that was off to the races after that.
We are halfway through our Pool B competition, and Erin Lavoie has won both disciplines so far. Only 3 from Pool B will advance to the STIHL Timbersports Championship. Now, our athletes move on to our 3rd discipline, the single buck, better known as the old misery whip. But first, these athletes dedicate immense hours to training for these events, but many still find time to serve their community. Let's find out in the Ace Hardware Helpful Profile.
My husband Nathan and I, do a lot of work to put on a couple of different competitions throughout the year, and those are really community-focused events. We hope that people enjoy watching the timber sports aspect of it, but it's really a way to draw the community in. They're free events, open to the public, and we try to get other local businesses involved. And we have a huge network of friends and family and people that we don't know that are helping and stepping up and really creating some wonderful community events.
We are halfway through our Pool B competition. Erin Lavoie still sits atop the leaderboard. Only the top 3 in points will advance to the STIHL Timbersports Championship. Now, these athletes move on to our 3rd discipline, the single buck. Let's find out more on the single buck. Here's the Duluth Trading Discipline Review.
The single buck competition is based on the traditional process of bucking the log into smaller lengths. The saw is a long peg and raker format that both cuts and clears the wood. Consistent technique, use of the full saw blade, and speed are all necessary for a competitive time.
It's time for the single buck. Our time to beat so far is 35 seconds, laid down by Christine Ramsey. Time for some single buck action right here. The time to beat, 35 seconds even. Laid down by Chrissy Ramsey. It's going to be Darcy Rose on your left going up against Laura Helmick.
Laura Helmick off to a quick start, but then a quick hang-up. Trouble all over the place for Darcy Rose. The saw is dropping through the wood, but looks almost too aggressive. She's having a hard time getting it moving. Some relief for Darcy Rose in the middle of the block, but it's not going to be enough. Laura Helmick running through the bottom of that block, gets through the small wood, drives off a 23.41.
All kinds of trouble for Darcy Rose there, and a time of 32.42. Here we go with heat number 2 of the single buck. Kelly Kerrigan, the environmental scientist from East Hampton, Connecticut, going up against Colin Shepard with the Forest Service in Warren, Pennsylvania.
Kelly Kerrigan with a very deliberate start. Starting to bring some more pace, though. The top of the log can present all kinds of challenges. Colin Shepard just slightly behind Kelly Kerrigan. Look at the waste product coming out of these saws. Nice clean. Oh, trouble at the bottom for Kelly Kerrigan. She regroups, gets it pulled back together. Said it before, the tops and the bottoms of these logs present all kinds of problems. It's when you got a tremendous amount of weight on a small number of teeth. Most likely the best opportunity for a hang-up.
Time of 27.39 for Colin Shepard, and Kelly Kerrigan takes over the top spot with a 22.65.
So I ran a longer saw than I normally run, and during stroke testing, during practice this past week, this saw was smoking. I was running it great, but I knew that I had to run it correctly in order for it to cut well. My other saw is more forgiving than that one, and I thought I had it. I short stroked a lot of my cuts, and then at the end I hung up, and by that point I was so angry at myself that I don't even know. I just got the cut off, and that was it.
Heat number 3, final heat of the single buck, and Erin Lavoie, former U.S. champion, has won both of our disciplines so far. Looking to make it 3 with the single buck, going up against Erin Cramsey, Oregon. This is a West Coast matchup.
There's a lot of chatter out there about Erin Lavoie. Some say that she is gunning for the championship again this year. Had it in 2018, lost it in 2019. 2 disciplines under her belt and a really solid-looking single buck.
We'll make it 3 disciplines in a row, making it easy. Erin Lavoie with a 16.96. Erin Cramsey, 24.75.
It was all right. That saw, I don't know, it felt super weird. Like it was not pulling wood, but it felt, I don't know, it was just awkward, but I was happy with it. Like, it's the first time I've cut in 2 years, and yee. I like it when you got your hands on, like, you get into that position, you got your hands on it, and it's like 2 seconds of silence before they say go, and you're just like looking down the barrel. Yeah, I love that.
After finishing first in the last 3 disciplines, Erin Lavoie looks to be a lock to advance to the championship. Competitors sitting on the bubble, Laura Helmick and Erin Cramsey, need to pick up big points in our final discipline, the underhand, to have a chance to be one of the top 3. The underhand is coming up next. STIHL Timbersports is sponsored by STIHL, maker of a full line of gasoline and battery-powered handheld outdoor power equipment. Find yours at stihlusa.com. By the Duluth Trading Company, the official workwear of STIHL Timbersports. By Ace Hardware. Ace is the helpful place. And by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. Erin Lavoie has won 3 out of 3 disciplines and is definitely a lock to advance to the championship. Everyone else needs big points in the underhand to have a chance to move on, so let's find out more about the underhand in our discipline review.
For the underhand, the competitors stand atop logs mounted horizontally on the stage. At the start, they will cut the front half of the log, then transition by facing the opposite direction to chop out the back half until the log is severed.
Final discipline, it's the underhand chop. Our time to beat so far, 1:1.39, laid down by Christine Ramsey. Let's start with our final discipline of the day, the underhand chop. This is going to be Darcy Rose versus Erin Cramsey.
3, 2, 1, go!
Kicking off this first heat, we want to see nice, clean technical cuts. I like what I'm seeing already. We can't obviously see the cutting face, but I like to see the discharge happen on the backside of those blocks. Nice pile of big chips. Pace is a little bit slow, but those last few hits, you see Darcy start to pick it up a little bit. Erin looking to shift those first chips. There it is. Those first hits didn't quite line up perfect. Didn't want to break away from the rest of the block. Now we're starting to see that thing shed some Now we're starting to see that block shed some chips. Darcy Rose punches it in the guts, goes to the bottom, a 41-88 for Darcy Rose.
More, and that does it for Erin Cramsey. Her official time, 46.60.
The front went well. I could have had a little better of a pace, but I didn't miss very many hits, so came off when I wanted it to come off, so that was good.
Heat number 2 of the underhand is going to be a matchup again between Kelly Kerrigan from Connecticut going up against Colin Shepard, Pennsylvania, and competing since 2007. Time to beat, 41.88, laid down by Darcy Rose.
Well, it's not an earth-shattering development, but same thing as with the standing block. We got to get Colin a little bit closer on that go. This wasn't as delayed as standing block, but you'll see competitors, obviously you don't want to jump the gun, but we see competitors pushing that go a little further. Both of these ladies around that 22-second mark. Can only assume they got the job done on the front side. Kelly Kerrigan had stepped in a little bit on the chip side of her underhand. She wisely went back and picked that up, cleaned that chop up. Colin Shepard well into the middle of the backside of this block. She goes for one more chip hit. She's driving off already, a 44.02. Kelly Kerrigan right on her heels. What a great finish from Colin Shepard. I think the finish surprised her as well. She went over for one chip hit, went back, there is the chip hit. She went to go drive it, and I think it was even done maybe a hit sooner. A little push with a foot might have severed that block.
Kerrigan's official time, 45.83, so this one goes to Shepard.
Could have gone better, could have gone worse, you know. I think I took a few more hits than I needed to on the front, and unfortunately didn't really use my drivers the way they're intended to be used. But I didn't pay for it on the back. I didn't get stuck driving, so I'm happy. I'll take it. It's been a good day.
Final heat of the underhand, the time to beat, 41.88, set by Darcy Rose. This is going to be Laura Helmick on the right, former champion Erin Lavoie on the left.
Well, let's see if Erin can have a clean sweep here. She's already got 3 out of 4 under her belt. Can she make it 4 for 4? Erin Lavoie is turned at the 10-second mark. Look at the chips falling out of this block. This is a disgusting chop for Erin Lavoie. She's already looking to drive. There it is, one in the guts, one in the bottom. Erin Lavoie, a 22.65.
Erin Lavoie's 22.65 is the new U.S. record. And that performance is our John Deere power play. Nothing runs like a deer.
What an accomplishment for Erin Lavoie. When records fall, it looks effortless. The right individual, the right axe, the right block all come together on the right day, and we got to see it here today.
That is 4 disciplines, 4 wins for Erin Lavoie.
I was fired up. I hit that first hit, and it was, I think I remember it being pretty perfect, and like the axe really liked that wood, and I saw that first chip just kind of blow across the block. It didn't chip out, but you could see it, like the energy just blow across the block, and then that next hit lined up perfect, and I was on fire. God, that felt so good.
Well, there you have it. Erin Lavoie, Colin Shepard, and Kelly Kerrigan are headed to the STIHL Timbersports Women's Championship. Join us next time. We'll have 7 more athletes from Pool C battling it out to be in the top 3 who will move on to the Women's Championship.